Okay, don't get me wrong, this is not an original video idea. But I decided to go with it anyway because I thought it would be kinda cool to do, you know? Plus, I wanted to see how I would feel making longer videos. So, yeah. This does not mean my channel will be entirely story times from now on. I do want to do other video ideas. So yeah, that's all you need to know. Moving on. Enjoy the vid. Welp, here I go entering this genre. Schools, or any educational facility for that matter, are pretty dystopian and flawed. They are supposed to turn you into a genius, but they usually end up turning you into a psychopath. Because, well, they're not doing it right. The subjects they teach are supposed to be engaging, but many of the times they don't do that well enough for every student in the classroom to understand them. Besides, every student has a different way of learning things, and every teacher has a different personality. So of course this is going to lead to some obvious problems which I don't need to voice over. If one student is interested in math, it doesn't mean the other one is also going to be. Yet, the disinterested guys get scolded about it the most, which, of course, hurts them psychologically. It's supposed to be fun to learn things in life, but schools nowadays are just making it not fun. But anyways, I'm making this video to tell a few quick tales from my school life, not to argue for a restructuring in the system. This first story happened, I think, in the first or second grade. There were these two kids who I will designate as Marcus and Robert. Now these two guys were not the most polite. Let's just say they kinda had an annoying personality at the time. But anyways, that's just some niche kid behavior stuff compared to what I'm actually gonna tell you. So my school at the time had this big theater where they would showcase stuff. At this one time at the beginning of a show, my class was climbing one of the stairs. Robert stopped me on the way up and said, "Hey, Rant, why don't you sit in that empty seat there?" I argued, "No, I have to be with everyone." Then Marcus came in and justified for him why I should sit in the empty seat again. It became a brief back and forth moment. We kinda debated on whether or not I should sit in the seat. However, I was submissive enough to actually sit down in it. So I did that, and then everyone was gone quickly. I sat there for a few minutes, worried that someone would awkwardly question something about me being there. But then, quite unexpectedly, my classroom's assistant came down and brought me up to sit right next to my teacher. My teacher said something, but I couldn't hear it over the loud noise from the stage. But I am willing to guess that it was not a good remark. I still regret to this day being so submissive, and I'm still kinda mad at Marcus and Robert for their deed. The next story or tale is from the third grade. Well, actually, this isn't really a whole story, more like a snippet. One time I was heading down a hallway with my books after something, and at the end of this hallway was a window. On this specific day, though, I saw quite a bunch of people crowding around it. I looked closer, and apparently, 2 birds literally entered the building for a bit. I was really astounded by that since I thought that was an impossible occurrence. Now that moment lives in my head rent-free. This one takes place in the 4th grade. The science teacher decided to take a quick break from science lessons and gave us this infamous riddle about a farmer, a wolf, a cabbage, and a sheep. It's actually kind of a popular riddle, so I'm not explaining the whole thing here. You can look it up yourself. Now, the first day he gave us this riddle, absolutely none of us heard of it. So some of us had tried desperate attempts to solve it, but none of us had enough logic power to do so. So right about that night, as I was sleeping, the riddle came back to my head. And my brain, no joke, literally just managed to catch the hint of the solution. So I was ready to solve it now. I think there might have been a weekend in between the days, which built up the excitement. Not sure though. So the next day the riddle came up. One kid, who was actually one of the smartest, went first and gave up. Then came my chance. I delivered the solution, and I got a great round of applause. Oh, the amount of pride that manifested in me was immeasurable. Next one is something that still haunts me. In the middle of the 6th grade, I actually transferred schools. School before was actually quite tolerant about students bringing gadgets, devices, and stuff. But this next one was a whole league more strict about it. Despite this though, my mom insisted that I take my phone with me for her to call me to get out the building, because for some reason she preferred for me to exit by myself. So I took my phone with me for the first few weeks while all was going well, but I precariously left my phone on ring the entire time. Of course, this was going to be a disaster. So then one day, everyone was quiet during a lesson, when suddenly, I am so glad that I was still basically a new student at the time, which meant the teachers and staff were tolerant of it, because otherwise it could have been much worse. I'd been having a problem with random numbers just calling me. I think it might be some phone carrier thing, I can't be sure. But now that problem had absolutely bitten me hard. But hey, I had an iPhone X, which was an amazing marvel of a phone at the time that got some of my classmates astonished. So I guess something good came out of it. Now this one time, me and all my classmates were all doing an exam really quietly. And because of this quietness, you should know that it would mean that any big noise would catch all of us off guard. So you know what happened? Out of nowhere, a MIDI version of the old Mario song legit started playing quite loudly in the hallway. Of course, from what I just said, this did catch us all off guard, and some of us laughed at it. Then it went silent for a few minutes. And then it started playing again. This became a fine example of how some things can be even funnier the second time. Now for the last tale of my educational life for now. One day, after a recess period finished, I was just chilling in class following along a lesson. Then I noticed someone from a different classroom who used to be with us in earlier grades, who decided to blend in with us. I'll call him the hider for this time. Now this gave me a strong instinct to laugh. I tried hiding it, but eventually my teacher noticed my subtle signs of it. What's so funny, Rant? I was trying to point to the hider, but I also didn't want to in case of trouble. So my arm was kind of mixed in this gesture. The hider then decided to break character and hide behind a table before giving up and showing himself. My teacher admittedly found this funny, but of course had to instruct the hider to go out. His classroom was across from ours, so he got back quickly. I pretty much died with one of the most contagious laughters that moment. So you can have a lot of various moments in schools. The current education system may be impractical as heck, but, you can still have good moments in schools. At least they have an advantage. I had quite a few tales or stories throughout my school life that I really want to tell, but I'm not willing to make this script that I'm reading so meaty to the point where the video is unbelievably long. Yeah, that seems about right. Wow, I'm literally recording this just after I finished reviewing my final product of a video. Yeah, it took me just over a month to complete. I'm beginning to understand why animation YouTubers in general have these long schedules now. It's been 2 years since I started thinking about animating things, and now I'm here. So yeah, can't believe I'm probably gonna have to experience this if I want to upload another video like this. Alright, whatever. I hope you enjoyed the video. You can be as critical as possible if you wish, because I'm trying to master the thing. Yeah, have a brilliant time, I suppose.